Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here today to help you navigate some really important information. The topic is, well, it's incredibly serious, but also incredibly crucial. Finding resources, finding services if you or maybe someone you know is impacted by family violence here in Canada.
Yeah.
Our source for this deep dive is a specific page from the Canada.ca website. It's focused exactly on this, where to find help.
Right.
So our mission really is to unpack this government resource, pull out the key info, the quickest ways to find support wherever you are in the country.
Think of it like a roadmap.
Exactly. A shortcut to understanding a critical lifeline.
And that's so important because, when you're dealing with family violence, time and clarity are they're everything.
Absolutely.
Being able to quickly find good, relevant information about support, that can make a huge difference. So a resource like this Canada.ca page, one that gathers it all together, it serves a really critical function.
It provides a clear path.
Yeah, in what's often a moment of crisis, of intense vulnerability.
You said it. And the source, it starts right where it needs to, with the most urgent message. We have to state this clearly. If you are in immediate danger, or you need urgent medical help, call 911 first.
That's the absolute priority, non-negotiable baseline for safety in an emergency.
Right. So, once immediate safety is handled, the page itself is laid out pretty practically. It starts with national services and resources stuff available basically anywhere in Canada.
Kind of the big picture view.
Yeah. And then it drills down into province and territory-specific listings. So, let's unpack those national options first.
Sounds good. And what's interesting about these national resources right off the bat is how they seem to get that, experiences with family violence aren't one size fits all.
Yeah, definitely.
They really try to provide tailored support, different needs, different groups of people.
Exactly. Like finding a safe place. Often the first thing someone needs. So the source points to sheltersafe.ca. It uses a clickable map. So you can find the nearest shelter for women and their children just based on location.
That immediate sort of geographic link is so practical.
Yeah. And specifically for women, they mentioned the iHeal app. It's described as free, private, secure. Designed to help Canadian women dealing with abuse from a partner find personalized ways to stay safe and well.
And importantly, it's not just focused on women. The resource also carves out space for intimate partner violence against men and boys.
Right, call that.
It offers info, resources for support, validation, advice, referrals. Including that is significant. It acknowledges violence impacts everyone, and men need specific paths to support too, maybe overcoming different barriers,
Absolutely. And they also point towards help for youth and young adults. That's through Kids Help Phone.
A really well-known one.
Yeah, offers 24/7 mental health support right across Canada. They give the number 1-800-668-6868. And there's a text option too. Text CONNECT to 686-868.
Having that direct line, especially the text option for young people, is just essential.
Totally. Now, for Indigenous peoples across Canada, there's the Hope for Wellness helpline, also 2947. And the page really emphasizes that the counselors are experienced and culturally competent.
That's key.
And that services are in English, French, and this is important on request, in Cree, Ojibwe, and Inuktitut.
Yeah.
The number is 1-855-242-332.
And that availability, the languages, the cultural awareness, it's absolutely vital. It builds trust, makes the help relevant, effective. It speaks to the historical context.
Makes sense. And they include older adults, too. They mentioned the Canadian Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse, CNPEA.
Yeah.
Their website has info and links if you or someone you know is experiencing abuse or neglect as an older adult.
Good to see that included.
And finally, under the national banner, they point to the Department of Justice Canada, their Get Help with Family Violence page. For legal info, what help is available there?
So it touches on the justice system aspect, too.
Right. Navigating that is often part of it.
Yeah, having all these diverse national resources in one spot, that's incredibly powerful.
Gives you a starting point.
Exactly, wherever you are. And it points you towards support that might fit your specific age, background, identity. It really acknowledges how multifaceted family violence is.
Okay, so that's the national overview. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Because the source then dives deep, like really deep into the local level. It gives these extensive lists of crisis lines, services for every single province and territory.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, covering people experiencing any type of family violence.
And if you think about the bigger picture, that sheer volume, the specificity of these provincial resources, it just highlights how critical local access is.
Right. National is great for a baseline, but
But it's the local services that are physically closer, that understand the community nuances, the regional specifics. They offer help right there in that context. This page is basically a comprehensive map of local lifelines.
it really is. And for each province, each territory, the structure seems pretty similar. They usually list important numbers, crisis lines, helplines.
The immediate context.
Yeah, and then links to services.
Right.
That covers everything from shelters and legal aid to like really specific local programs.
Got it.
Now, obviously, listing every single one would take forever.
We'd be here all day.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's pull out just a few examples from different places just to give you a feel for the kind of detail that's there.
Okay. Good idea.
So, for instance, Alberta, they list the Family Violence Information Line, 247, multilingual, great. But they also specifically mention the Bright Line,
Okay.
which offers support for the 2S LGBTQIA+ community, including that specific community support. That really stood out to me.
Yeah, that shows real targeted thinking. And just for clarity for listeners, 2S LGBTQIA+ refers to two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, intersex, asexual or aromantic, and others.
Thanks. Good clarification. Then British Columbia, they have Victim Link BC, also 247, multilingual. But their links include things like the BC Society for Male Survivors of Sexual Abuse and Seniors First BC.
Again, that specific targeting of needs within BC.
Exactly. Moving east, Manitoba, they list their domestic violence crisis line, but also highlight the Manitoba Farm rural and northern support services.
Oh, that's interesting, acknowledging the rural-urban difference.
Right. Access and needs can be really different outside big cities. Resources have to reflect that.
Makes total sense.
And New Brunswick, they list the Chimo Helpline and specifically mention the Courage Center. See, they're naming actual local organizations, not just generic categories.
Real places, real contacts. And up north, say, in Nunavut.
Yeah, Nunavut lists the Kamasi Nunavut Helpline and the Kamevik Shelter. Resources operating in, unique geographical, cultural contexts, including them shows they're trying to cover support even in more remote areas.
That coverage is important.
Now, Ontario's list, it's particularly extensive.
Right.
Yeah. Beyond general lines like the Assaulted Women's Helpline, which even has a text option, they list specific numbers, like FemAid for French speakers,
Okay.
a dedicated male survivors of sexual abuse crisis line, a senior safety line, and Talk for Healing, specifically for Indigenous women.
Wow. That's a lot of specific lines just for Ontario.
Right. Seeing that density really shows how this page acts as a gateway to this huge network of specialized support.
It absolutely shows a commitment to providing options that connect with specific identities, languages, ages, experiences within that province. And you're saying that level of detail is there for every province and territory?
Pretty much, yeah. From Newfoundland and Labrador's Respect Aging program to Quebec's Resources for Men, like a Cur Dome, or Saskatchewan's Mobile Crisis Helpline, and their men's program. It's all listed.
That depth for each region is remarkable.
It really moves beyond just saying find help. It gives you concrete local contacts.
Yeah.
It empowers someone. Look at the page, find your province, and see a list of numbers, organizations relevant to you right where you live.
Exactly. It takes that general need for help and makes it geographically relevant, demographically relevant, which is crucial in a country as big and diverse as Canada.
Couldn't agree more. So, okay, what does all this mean beyond just the immediate crisis support? The source also tucks in a related links section at the very end.
Ah, right. And those links are important, too. They kind of broaden the picture.
How so?
Well, they move beyond just the immediate crisis response. They point towards opportunities for deeper understanding, maybe prevention efforts, accessing wider support systems.
Okay.
They really highlight that addressing family violence is multifaceted. It's more than just finding a safe place or a crisis line, important as those are.
Right. So what kinds of things do they link to?
General info about family violence itself. Resources for promoting safe relationships, that's the prevention angle. Support related to gender-based violence more broadly. Even resources for professionals who might encounter these situations in their work.
Gotcha. Like doctors or teachers?
Could be, yeah. And it also connects you to bigger national organizations like the Ending Violence Association of Canada or the Canadian Resource Centre for Victims of Crime.
Okay.
Plus other helplines that might be relevant depending on the situation, like Trans Lifeline or general mental health support lines.
So it really acts as a hub then, connecting you to this whole wider ecosystem of support information prevention.
Exactly. It underscores that seeking help or just understanding family violence is often part of a bigger ongoing process. Healing, safety planning, maybe even professional work.
Okay, so wrapping this all up then.
Yeah,
This Canada.ca page, it's clearly a vital hub.
absolutely.
It really does a masterful job bringing together those national foundational resources with these incredibly detailed hyperlocal lists for every single province and territory. Its purpose seems singular and critical.
Yeah.
Help people impacted by family violence quickly find shelters, helplines, legal help, specialized support tailored for different groups right across Canada.
And for you, the listener, the takeaway is direct, potentially life-altering.
Yeah.
If you or someone you know is facing these challenges, this resource offers concrete, actionable steps, specific contacts to seek help. Doesn't matter where you are in the country or what your specific needs might be, it's a powerful consolidation of critical information.
It really is a well-organized digital lifeline.
It is. And, thinking about the sheer breadth of resources listed there, specifically tailored for so many different groups, women, men, youth, older adults, indigenous peoples, 2S LGBTQIA plus communities, and more, all compiled on one single government page. It really highlights the complex realities, the diverse needs of people experiencing family violence.
That's true.
And it kind of leaves you with a question, doesn't it? It prompts us to consider not just that these resources exist, but how effectively this vast, detailed network actually ensures that everyone can find the specific support they need when they need it, overcoming any potential barriers within that system to actually access the help.
That's a really critical question to keep thinking about. Definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
And just for your reference, we did note that this specific page on Canada.ca, the source for our deep dive today, was last modified on February 24th, 2025. So it seems actively maintained.
Good to know.
Thank you for joining us in this deep dive into such an important resource.